Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Aidan.
Aidan. Right, here we are. Office Bloke Daz.
You know me by now,
Sports edition,
surely.
covering all kinds of sports. You should know you are.
Should know. We say our names every time, but
just an intro, isn't it?
in case there's anyone new
do
people,
you know
welcome.
Do you know who Aaron Rodgers is?
Aaron Rodgers. Has he always played for the Packers? Because I've never seen him anywhere else.
Well, he's recently been traded, hasn't he? Didn't he go to the Jets?
Really? Or
I've
was
got a
that
feeling he went to the New York
47?
Jets.
How old is he now?
I've got a feeling he got traded to the New York Jets this year.
Should I try and...
Yeah, what's that? I think just this year he got traded to the Jets.
I would have thought he'd retired, maybe.
Yeah. But I just think he went there. But I know there's a story behind him. He's saying a community college quarterback.
Yeah, he plays for the Jets.
Yeah.
He's 39.
39. He actually came over once to visit us at City, wasn't he? He was at the Etihad Stadium once.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that now.
I was trying to blag our way into the area where he would have been.
As you always do.
We managed to get in there, but he wasn't there. So he must have gone. Yeah, because I think he had a game in London or something.
Someone told him Office Bloke Daz is coming. He's like, all right,
he's like, I'm off now, yeah. Anyway, this is how a community college quarterback became an NFL legend.
It's hard to imagine that after high school, Aaron Rodgers considered quitting football, but after receiving no offers to play Division I football, he was ready to give up on his NFL dream. From community college to four-time NFL MVP, this is the story of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers grew up in Chico, California. His football career would start at Pleasant Valley High School. He was not the most physically gifted athlete, but his incredible understanding of the game and insane arm talent were there for all to see from very early on. However, standing at just 5'3" as a freshman, Rodgers had to excel in the mental side of the game to compensate.
How old are you as a freshman?
That's first year of high school, I'm guessing, right? So what are you, 14, 15?
40, yeah, around there.
For being small. So Rodgers didn't get the opportunity to start until his junior year. Despite growing to just 5'7", it didn't take long for him to establish himself as one of the better quarterbacks in the state. Starting 2 years in high school, Rodgers passed for 4,421 yards and set the school's single-season record with 2,466 passing yards in his senior year. He also set single-game records with 6 touchdowns and 440 all-purpose yards. When it was time to take the leap to college, Rodgers was 6 foot and still considered too small,
He looks so
which led to him
different
being overlooked by every Division I program in college football. He attended camps in an attempt to raise his status. His high school head coach, Sterling Jackson, even took him to a camp at the University of Illinois. Rodgers was clearly the best quarterback at the camp, but convincing coaches to look past his small frame wasn't easy. The University of Illinois decided to offer Rodgers the opportunity to join and compete for a scholarship as a walk-on, but he declined the offer. Aaron Rodgers was stuck. Being told you are not good enough by every college in the country is very disheartening. Most would have given up, and he almost did. Disappointed by the lack of interest in him from Division I programs, he considered hanging up his pads and playing baseball. Rodgers also admitted that he thought about quitting sports altogether and going to law school. But this wouldn't be the end of Aaron Rodgers. He was too good for it to end this way. When all hope was lost, he was reached out to by Butte Community College, a junior college about 15 minutes from where he grew up, and offered the opportunity to play football for them. Aaron still had his heart firmly set on playing football at the next level. Following a conversation with Butte head coach Craig Rigsby, Rodgers was convinced. All he wanted was for me to look him in the eye and promise I would give him a chance. Craig Rigsby. All Rodgers needed was an opportunity, as he quickly won the starting job over a veteran who had been there for years. Arriving at 6'2" and 200 pounds for his freshman year, Rodgers ended the season completing almost 62% of his pass attempts, compiling 2,408 yards, 28 touchdowns, and just 4 interceptions. The Butte Roadrunners, led by Rodgers, went 10-1 on their way to a North.
It's crazy when you look at like the little details behind someone's whole career, how that one coach at that school gave him a chance, and if that one guy didn't give him a chance, he would never have gone to the NFL probably.
There's probably a lot of people it happens to that we don't know about. You never heard of them, they just fade away.
Or like them people that didn't get the chance that you obviously you don't know about, and then could have been some next level superstar.
It's the right place, right time. I used to play sport with loads of people, and I think they're good enough to make it.
Yeah.
I knew I was never good enough to make it to a specific level.
Yeah.
I probably could have played lower level, but it wasn't for me, sort of thing. But then if you go into the high level, there's people I played with, I thought they're definitely going to make it to the top. Just didn't.
Never did.
No. Again, right place, right time.
Yeah,
Some
it's
of
all
them
about
made it to-
opportunity, innit?
Some of them, mate. I've got one of my mates who's got his profile pictures, him with Thierry Henry, playing against him. They're not going in for a tackle with Thierry Henry.
Who was Thierry Henry playing for?
Arsenal.
Was it?
Yeah. So.
Cal championship and a #2 national ranking. California Golden Bears head coach Jeff Tedford came for a Roadrunners game to recruit Butte tight end Garrett Cross. In the process, he discovered Aaron Rodgers and offered him a scholarship to play at Cal. After just 1 year in junior college, Aaron Rodgers would transfer to the University of California, Berkeley. Rodgers was named the starting quarterback just 4 games into his sophomore season, and the Golden Bears went 7-3 with him at the helm. That year, Rodgers tied the record for most 300-yard games in a season with 5, and he set a new school record for the lowest percentage of passes intercepted at 1.43%. As a junior, Aaron Rodgers really put the football world on notice. The Golden Bears went 10-1, with their only loss coming against #1 ranked USC. Rodgers had an amazing game. He set the single-game record with 85% of passes completed. Despite having first and goal with less than 2 minutes to play, Rodgers and the Golden Bears couldn't get it done. He finished the season with 2,566 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. His 66.1% pass completion percentage led the Pac-10, but now he was a household name. So he opted out of his senior year at Cal to declare for the NFL draft. Rodgers grew up a lifelong 49ers fan who had the first pick in the 2005 NFL draft. It was a no-brainer. They had to pick him. He was from the area. He went to school in the area. They needed a quarterback, and he was the best one in the draft. Made perfect sense, right? Wrong. The Niners went with a different quarterback, Alex Smith, the player who they thought was ready to come in and play straight away. Now it was time for Aaron Rodgers to sit tight and wait for his name to be called. After every pick, the camera would show Rodgers becoming visibly frustrated. It was college all over again. Everyone seemed to be passing on him. Hours went by, but finally, he would hear his name called. With the 24th pick in the NFL draft, the Green Bay Packers select Aaron Rodgers. The Green Bay Packers weren't in any immediate need for a quarterback.
So he was with them for like that long until he went to the Jets this season.
Yeah,
I guess.
That's what I'm saying. I think his career had ended at Green Bay.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And I think he wanted to play a little bit more, but they didn't want to give him a contract, so he went to the Jets. Because I think
just one year, do you reckon?
I don't know who the quarterback is for the Packers now, but I remember watching when Brett Favre was the quarterback. He was like the best thing at the time. Brett Favre, Super Bowl winner, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Favre was still playing at an elite level, so Rodgers would be going there to sit for a few years before he finally got his chance. And Favre didn't take kindly to his heir being drafted while he was still in his prime. But during Rodgers' rookie season in Green Bay, the Packers went 4-12. So head coach Mike Sherman was fired and replaced by Mike McCarthy. McCarthy would spend several hours a day with Rodgers, working on his mechanics to allow him to have a smooth release. Whereas the relationship, or lack of, between Favre and Rodgers was no secret. Favre once famously said, "My contract doesn't say I have to get Aaron Rodgers ready to play. Now, hopefully he watches me and gets something from that." And after 2 seasons as a backup, many thought Rodgers would get his chance because Favre retired before the 2007 season. But Rodgers would have to wait a little longer, as Favre said that he was coming out of retirement for one more ride. His time would finally come in 2008. Favre announced his retirement yet again, giving Aaron Rodgers the chance to lead the Packers. Then, when Brett Favre came out of retirement for a second time, the team decided they would stick with Rodgers going forward, trading Favre to the New York Jets. The Pack struggled in Rodgers' first season as the starter, finishing the 2008 season 6-10. Despite that, Rodgers proved to everyone why the Packers decided to go with him over Favre. Rodgers ended the year with 4,038 passing yards and 28 touchdowns, which earned him a 6-year extension worth $65 million. And this was just the beginning of things to come for the man who had been overlooked his entire career. In 2009, Rodgers picked up right where he left off. It took just 2 years as a starter for people to realize that he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. His ability to read and dissect coverages, along with the arm talent to make every throw on the field, made him almost impossible to stop. The Packers started 4-4, but pulled it together, ending the season 7-1 to finish 11-5 and earn a playoff berth. That season, the Packers set a new franchise record for points scored with 461. Rodgers became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for over 4,000 yards in each of their first 2 seasons as a starter. In his first playoff appearance, Rodgers was intercepted on his first pass attempt, but he brushed it off to pass for 423 yards and 4 touchdowns, the most by any quarterback in their first playoff game. Unfortunately, the Packers lost the game in overtime, in what would go down as one of the best playoff games in history. Their 51-45 loss to the Cardinals is the highest scoring playoff game to date. He finished the season with with 4,434 yards through the air, 30 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, adding 316 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground on the way to his first Pro Bowl selection. After an up-and-down start to the 2010 season, Green Bay found themselves sitting 8-6 with 2 games to go, knowing they would need to win both to secure a playoff berth for the 3rd straight year. They blew out the Giants and beat the Bears to end 10-6 and sneak into the playoffs as the 6th seed. That playoff run destroyed any chatter surrounding Aaron Rodgers and whether or not he could win in the playoffs. The Packers defeated the 3rd seed Eagles 21-6 in the wildcard round, then blew out the number 1 seed Atlanta Falcons 48-21, the most points ever by the Packers in the playoffs. In the NFC Championship game, Green Bay were up against a familiar opponent, the division rival and number 2 seed Chicago Bears. The Bears found a way to nullify Rodgers, intercepting him twice and limiting him to just 1 rushing touchdown. Although Rodgers didn't have the best game, the Packers held on to win 21-14, earning a ticket to the Super Bowl. In Super Bowl 45, Green Bay raced to a 14-0 lead in the first quarter. The Pittsburgh Steelers threatened to come back on a few occasions, but Rodgers kept making plays to keep the drives alive. The Packers held on to win the Super Bowl, and Aaron Rodgers was named the game's MVP after he became one of 4 quarterbacks to ever throw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in the big game. Rodgers' 2010 playoff run was historic, and normally there is a Super Bowl slump, but Aaron Rodgers wasn't normal, as he would have one of the best individual seasons in NFL history in 2011. Every throw was on the money, throwing off-platform across his body. Rodgers was making it look easy. He ended the season with 4,643 passing yards, 45 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions. His 7.5 touchdown-to-interception ratio that year is 4th all-time. Rodgers also set a single-season passer rating record at 122.5 on his way to the first of his 4 MVP awards. Despite the historic season and the Packers finishing the year 15-1, they lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion New York Giants in the divisional round of the playoffs. 2012 was more of the same for Rodgers. Elite QB play that led the Packers to another division title. Despite it, they lost in the divisional round of the playoffs to the 49ers. Rodgers was likely to pick up his 2nd MVP award in 3 years in 2013, but he fractured his collarbone against the Chicago Bears. The injury would force him to miss 8 games, and the Packers went 2-6 in his absence. In the final game of the season, the Green Bay Packers traveled to Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears yet again. The Packers were 7-7-1. Against all odds, Rodgers returned for this massive game. The Packers found themselves down 1 at midfield with less than a minute to go, facing a 4th down and long. Rodgers took the snap, rolled left, and unleashed a 48-yard dime to Randall Cobb for the touchdown. The King in the North was back. The Packers started the 2014 season 1-2 and were facing some criticism. In those 3 games, Rodgers struggled and famously told the fans and the media to just relax. Relax. Boy, was he right. The Pack would finish the season 12-4, while Rodgers threw for 4,381 yards and 38 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions. In the divisional round, the Packers hosted the Dallas Cowboys. Rodgers' 316 yards and 3 touchdowns helped lead the Packers to a 26-21 win. Next up was a matchup with the reigning Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks for the conference championship. With less than 4 minutes to go in the game, the Packers led 19-7. A touchdown by Russell Wilson made it 19-14. Then the unthinkable happened. The Seahawks attempted and recovered an onside kick. They drove down and took the lead with less than 90 seconds to go. A 2-point conversion gave Seattle a 3-point lead. Even with the number 1 defense in the league, the Seahawks knew they had left Aaron Rodgers too much time. Rodgers drove down with relative ease, putting the Packers in position to make the game-tying field goal. Despite his heroics, in overtime, Rodgers didn't even get a chance. The Seahawks won the coin toss and scored the winning touchdown. Rodgers won the most prestigious individual honor once again, winning his 2nd NFL MVP award. 2015 was a down year for his standards. He finished the year with career lows in yards, 3,821, completion percentage, 60.7, yards per attempt, 6.7, and passer rating, 92.7, when playing 15 games or more. But the year wouldn't be remembered for his slump. It would be remembered as the year of miracles, things that only Aaron Rodgers could do. First up, it was the Motown Miracle. With zeros on the clock, down 2, the Packers were given 1 untimed down after a face mask penalty was called on the Detroit Lions. On his own 39-yard line, Rodgers threw a Hail Mary that traveled 61 yards in the air before being snagged by tight end Richard Rodgers in the end zone. The Packers would end the season 10-6. This was enough to secure them a road playoff game against the Washington Redskins, who the Packers made light work of, winning 35-18 to advance to the divisional round. Next up, miracle number 2. this time at the expense of the Arizona Cardinals. When a team is down 7 with less than a minute to play, facing 4th and 20 on their own 4-yard line, it's usually game over. That is, unless Aaron Rodgers is the guy with the ball in his hands. He took the snap, rolled left, and unleashed a 61-yard bomb down the field to find Jeff Janis. After a penalty on the next play, the Packers were left with just 5 seconds and 40 yards between them and the end zone. Moving to his left, falling away with pressure in his face, Rodgers threw a prayer towards the end zone. Jeff Janis went up between 2 Arizona defenders and made the touchdown catch. Another miracle. Aaron Rodgers clawed the Packers back from certain defeat. Unfortunately, yet again, he wouldn't get an opportunity to win the game in overtime. The Cardinals won the toss and drove down to score the game-winning touchdown. The folling year, Rodgers' regular season struggles continued.
They've changed the rule about that now, haven't they? As they should, because it's a bit unfair, that, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't. You might as well just say heads or tails. That's who wins.
Yeah.
You've still got to go down.
You've still got to score, yeah. But still, it's all about the coin toss there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Packers started 4-6, and Rodgers didn't look himself. He wasn't throwing as accurately as we were used to seeing, and he was turning the ball over. After their 6th loss of the season, Rodgers came out and said he felt the Packers could run the table. And they did just that, winning 6 straight to finish 10-6, collecting another NFC North title and a place in the playoffs. Another playoff run, another Hail Mary. With 5 seconds left at the end of the first half in the wild card round against the Giants, Rodgers would drop back and launch a 42-yard strike to Randall Cobb at the back of the end zone. The Packers won with relative ease, 38-13, to set up an exciting divisional round game against the number 1 seed Dallas Cowboys. Tied at 31 with 12 seconds left to go in the game, Aaron Rodgers produced what can only be described as one of the best throws ever made in the NFL. He took the snap, spun left, and found Jared Cook on the sideline. There was only one place that ball could go, and he put it right on the money. A 36-yard completion would put Mason Crosby in field goal range to kick the game winner. However, Rodgers found himself once again falling short of another Super Bowl appearance. The Packers lost to the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC Championship game. After the heartbreaking playoff loss, the 2000 season
it always seems to be the Falcons, doesn't it? Every season.
Only bring more pain for Rodgers and the Pack. Rodgers suffered a broken collarbone in Week 6 against their division rival Minnesota Vikings. The Packers would go on to miss the playoffs for the first time in 8 seasons without their star QB. 2018 is what can be remembered as the end of an era in Green Bay. The Packers failed to make the playoffs for the 2nd straight season, despite Aaron Rodgers' heroics. They finished the season 7-9 and 3rd in the NFC North, while Rodgers was selected to his 7th Pro Bowl. Rodgers dealt with a knee injury for most of the season, but that didn't stop him throwing for 4,442 passing yards and 25 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. That was the 3rd highest touchdown to interception ratio in league history. Having missed the playoffs in back-to-back seasons for the first time in Rodgers' career, the Packers decided to move on from head coach Mike McCarthy and replace him with Matt LaFleur. The changing coaching regimes proved to be just what the Packers needed, as they went 13-3 in the 2000.
Do you know who he looks like when he got shown on there? Do you know who he looks like?
Who's the coach?
Yeah.
Career, the Packers decided to move on from head coach Mike McCarthy and replace him with Matt.
I thought it was Ryan Reynolds when I first saw it.
When you said that, before you answered, I was thinking it's the Wrexham guy.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan Reynolds, doesn't it?
Right.
LaFleur. The changing coaching regimes proved to be just what the Packers needed, as they went 13-3 in the 2019 regular season. They secured a first-round bye in the playoffs, which led to a divisional round matchup with the Seahawks. After going up big early in the game, the Packers were able to hold on for a 28-23 victory. Then, a story the Packers and Aaron Rodgers know all too well, an NFC Championship game loss, this time against the San Francisco 49ers. At 36, many began to wonder if Rodgers still had it. The Packers drafted a quarterback in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft, and that didn't sit well with Rodgers. He felt disrespected, and that the team should be using those valuable assets at other positions. He took his anger out on the league the next year. Rodgers finished the 2020 regular season with 4,299 passing yards, 48 passing touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions, leading the league in completion percentage, touchdown passes, and passer rating. Aaron Rodgers was crowned league MVP for the 3rd time. The postseason would have a very similar outcome to the previous one. A meeting with Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC Championship game was on the cards. While Rodgers had 346 yards and 3 touchdowns, he was sacked 5 times and under constant pressure all game. The Packers lost the game 31-26. Rodgers was now 1-4 in championship games, becoming the first quarterback in history to lose 4 in a row. In 2021, nothing changed. It was more of the same for Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. Dominance in the regular season, but not able to put it all together when it mattered most almost in the playoffs. Nonetheless, Aaron Rodgers, at 37 years old, was nothing short of spectacular, throwing for 4,115 yards and 37 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. He won his 4th MVP award and became the first player since Peyton Manning to win the award in back-to-back seasons. At age 38, Rodgers seems to be showing no signs of slowing down. Now a Super Bowl MVP, 4 league MVPs, 4 All-Pro selections, 10 Pro Bowl selections, and countless NFL records later, the kid from California that couldn't get a single Division I offer in college is, without a doubt, one of the 5 best quarterbacks in NFL history, and perhaps the most gifted passer the game has ever seen.
Yeah.
Some story.
What a great
that.
story, that, isn't it? Hey.
Did he win? So he won the Super Bowl then?
Yeah.
When did the Packers win it? Like,
Wait, shown it there, didn't they? They beat. Who did they beat? Was it the 49ers?
I remember like the Chiefs playing the 49ers, but I just don't remember the.
Was it 2000? Was that 2012 or something like that?
No, it wouldn't have been then. It would have been recent then, wouldn't it?
Or was that the Giants that won it then? I'm pretty sure you just said it then. Correct?
It's 2011.
Yeah, 2011. That was Aaron. Yeah, because he came in 2008, didn't he?
Mm.
After Favre retired again. So, but he said, yeah, what a story though. From nobody wanting him in a college to getting picked, to doing 1 year, and then going putting yourself in the
top 5
in the draft.
quarterbacks.
Yeah, but then 100%. Incredible story that.
It is, isn't it?
Brilliant. And what I mean, I've seen him being interviewed a few times, and he comes across as a decent guy. I've seen him being interviewed over here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like I say, he took a trip to the Etihad, and I've seen him being interviewed with some of the guys, some of the players from there.
Was he wearing a City shirt?
He did have a City shirt on, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So I'm not sure if he's a City fan.
Maybe he is.
But
he is
could
now.
be. He is now, yeah. But there you go. That's why we like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that too. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers.